Everyone knows that Hollywood bends the rules of reality to bring stories to the big screen. Even movies based on true events fudge things up a little bit. It's called artistic license, and many viewers accept it as part of the film industry. The problem is when the truths movies present are so prevalent, they become accepted as fact. People have a misconstrued vision of how society operates because of movies, and they may be surprised to learn how much films get wrong. Here are 10 movie myths you probably still believe. Laser blasts are visible. A staple of any sci-fi film, laser guns are the go-to weapons for the characters. They look cool and they don't require ammunition reloads. But there's one issue: the laser blasts are visible. If laser guns were ever created in the real world, people wouldn't be able to see the blasts. Beams need something to reflect on to be seen. In addition, invisible laser blasts would be more powerful since visible beams scatter photons, making it less potent. This would certainly make all the Star Wars dogfights a little less exciting. Thankfully, it's simply science fiction. Cops have to read Miranda Rights. If you've seen any cop TV show or film, chances are you're familiar with the Miranda Rights. Beginning with the famous line, "You have the right to remain silent," police officers say this upon arresting a suspect before bringing them in. If they forget to read the rights, as shown in 21 Jump Street, the criminal can go free on a technicality.
I did read him his right. I did a version of that.
But that's not how it works. The Miranda Rights are only for people about to be interrogated by authorities and are not required when someone gets arrested. This way, perpetrators can't claim the officer didn't read the rights and exploit a loophole. They're still in police custody. The insanity defense works. Frequently, when a character commits murder in a movie, their lawyer will attempt to prove insanity so the alleged criminal gets off free. As long as one of your multiple personalities did it, it's okay, right? Wrong. The insanity defense is rarely used, only in less than 1% of all cases. Even then, it's successful less than 25% of the time. There are also states that don't even allow that defense to be heard. Considering a criminal can prove insanity, they're not free per se. They have to stay at a mental institution until doctors deem them fit to return to society. That could be twice as long as a jail sentence. Explosions aren't a big deal. As The Lonely Island once told us, cool guys don't look at explosions. Turns out, they wouldn't survive any either. Several action movies showcase jaw-dropping explosions that shatter just about everything in their path, except the main protagonist. The hero will typically make a dashing escape by using the explosion as a means to propel him through the air. Unfortunately, should John McClane try his antics in real life, his body would be torn to pieces by the shockwave. Explosions go through things, which would obviously kill somebody and end the film franchise quicker than any villain could dream. Airplanes are easy to start. Whenever the heroes need to make a quick getaway, there's always an empty aircraft for them to use. All it takes is a flip of a couple switches and the plane can take off. If only it were that simple. Being a pilot isn't the same as driving a standard car, and there's typically a huge checklist of things to go through before flying a vehicle. A 747 jet requires 123 items before going off the ground, and the helicopter from the A-Team has a 9-page list. In real life, even fighter jets take 15 minutes to take off when they're called into action in an emergency. So Hollywood needs to find a new way to get heroes out of a jam. Tracing calls takes a long time. In a game of cat and mouse, the villain may call the hero to taunt him or her, and there's a mad dash to trace the call and track down the evildoer's location. When the good guys get oh so close to completing the task, the villain hangs up, smug in victory. But if movies were following real-world practices, they'd find the baddies in no time. Police usually know where you are as soon as you call them, and the FCC requires wireless networks to have location tracking technology. The only time this would work is if the villain was using a stolen or prepaid phone, and it still wouldn't take more than a minute to find. Mid-budget movies are easy to greenlight. Movies are business driven by profits, so one would think that smaller budgeted projects would be welcomed by executives looking to make a quick buck. That isn't the case. As you may have noticed, franchises are the dominant form of films these days, with the studios banking on well-known intellectual properties to drive their release slates. If a movie isn't a huge tentpole based on something, it's harder to get approved. Mark Wahlberg spent years developing the boxing drama The Fighter, which went on to be an awards player. It doesn't matter how great a film can be, it needs to be recognizable or it could never be made.
Besides, the Americans are slugheads. They'll never detect me.
Hacking is only done by criminals. There's no denying that hacking is illegal and can lead to serious consequences. Just ask Sony. Still, it isn't something that's exclusively done by criminals looking for a way to get ahead. Hacking is actually a legitimate career, and professional ones are usually hired by companies to look into their systems for weak spots. These are typically normal, everyday people just trying to make a living and have no malicious intent when they hack into servers. Finding vulnerabilities can lead to substantial payday, so this really doesn't sound so bad after all. A T-Rex can't see things that don't move. When the T-Rex breaks out of its Jurassic Park paddock, Alan Grant tells Lex that the dinosaur can't see them if they don't move. Sure enough, the T-Rex is right in front of his prey but doesn't know it. Studies have shown that Grant and the kids would have been a tasty meal for a real-world T-Rex whose eyesight rivaled that of a hawk or eagle. In the novel, this trait was explained by the amphibian DNA used in the genetic maps impacted in the eyes, but the film makes no mention of it. It's a plot hole that bothered scientists, but general audiences didn't seem to care. Instant communication is possible across great distances. Sci-fi movies love to show people communicating with each other even when they're on completely different planets. Their messages get across instantly and there's typically no delay. They have a conversation as if they were in the same room. If someone tried this in the real world, they'd be disappointed. The average time lag for a message from Earth to Mars can be almost 21 minutes, with another 21 added for a reply. That certainly paints Mark Watney's plight in a new light. Thankfully, his communication system in The Martian seemed to be more advanced. Those are our picks for movie myths you still believe. Are there any we missed? Which ones are your favorites? Sound off in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more fun videos.